Hey Nancy Drew fans! We're back for book 41, The Clue of the Whistling Bagpipes. The book starts with this great exchange. "Nancy, lass, would you fly off with me to the land of bagpipes and kilts?" Mr. Drew asked her with a grin. "And how do you like my Scottish accent?" he teased. His daughter burst into laughter. "It's very good," Nancy replied. "And will I be wearing a kilt and dancing to the pipes?" she countered, trying to imitate her father. Mr. Drew tells Nancy that her maternal great-grandmother, Lady Douglas, is missing a priceless family heirloom that she'd intended to give to Nancy, and he invites her to come along to Scotland and solve that mystery while he's working on some legal matters for the Douglas estate. Ned joins the family for dinner that evening and tells Nancy that he's just read about another mystery in the Scottish Highlands. A gang of thieves have been stealing sheep. Conveniently, Bess then calls to tell Nancy that she's just won a prize of free international plane tickets because she won a photography contest in an international magazine. When Nancy learns that the winning photo is one of her with a magnifying glass looking at footprints, she's certain it's going to hurt her chances with the case, and she's so upset that she has to sit down. But she doesn't say anything to spare Bess's feelings. It's immediately obvious that someone really doesn't want Nancy on this case. A truck smashes into her car, there's a bomb in her mailbox, and she and Ned both receive repeated threats. The action really ramps up in Scotland, and it's both of the man-made and natural variety, including Nancy's car getting pushed into a lake while exiting a ferry, George is pushed down a mountain, the girls have to put out a large brush fire, Nancy has a run-in with a wildcat, and there's a huge storm where Bess is temporarily swept out to sea. Amidst all of this action, the girls still find plenty of time for sightseeing and interactions with the thoroughly charming people of the Highlands. They translate Gaelic, tour a bagpipe factory, walk the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, and learn dozens of historical facts about Scotland. All of the action and fun make the sleuthing seem a bit of an afterthought. Nancy doesn't even meet Lady Douglas or find out what the heirloom is until page 113. But the second half of the book is just fantastic, culminating in a daring ruse that has Nancy in full tartan garb playing the bagpipes on top of Ben Nevis. There's plenty of great detective work in this story, but Ned, who's been in River Heights investigating a note warning about the mailbox bombing, definitely wins the award. After studying the note you received, I figured it had been written by a somewhat shy, motherly person, probably elderly. From the type of paper used, I deduced she lived in a middle-income area of town and might shop locally. So I hounded the markets and kept my eyes open. "And you found her that way?" Nancy asked. Ned chuckled. "Sure did." For outfits, the girls each choose a full tartan costume from trunks in Lady Douglas's attic. George's black hair was set off by the yellow and black plaid of the Macleods of Lewis. Bess looked very pretty in the Stuart dress, a combination of large white squares interspersed with stripes of pale green and red. "Nancy, I'm glad that you chose the Cameron tartan of my mother," said Lady Douglas. "It's very becoming." Nancy did look attractive in the flashy tartan of large bright red squares edged with stripes of dark green. Food includes several ornate tea services with Lady Douglas and a multi-course Scottish feast. It started with cockadecky soup of leeks and a boiling hen. Then came mutton stew filled with potatoes and small white turnips. There was kale as a side dish, and for dessert, a bowl of steamed bread pudding filled with currants and topped with custard sauce. "That was a marvelous meal," Bess declared. "I'm stuffed." "But you must have a treacle dotty," Mrs. Drummond insisted, and brought out a jar of brown sticky candy balls. Bess and her friends could not resist, and found the sweets delicious. Next up, The Phantom of Pine Hill.